Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
AdvBlueDude.
And welcome to part 2 of our So You Want to Be an Imagineer historical retrospective here at TaffyCon 2016. So what was the best cosplay you've seen at TaffyCon?
Oh my god. My favorite cosplay was... Oh god. I'm not... This is too late for improv. My favorite cosplay was Frozen Walt Disney.
I would just like to think that if there was a TaffyCon, that England would go as Batman. That's all I would hope for. Okay. So part 1 of the historical retrospective, we talked all the way up until season 7. Season 7 was fans versus favorites. The treacherous trio Adventure Blue Dude. Do you want to dive into that just a tiny bit before we get into season 8?
Yeah, you know a bit more than I do. We forgot to mention it was part of season 7.
Essentially what happened was we did get into the whole circumstances regarding Cole's elimination. And what was going on there was it was King Mickey.
Mickey, Mater, and Trevor, I thought.
Mater and Trevor, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And then Cole. And Cole was just running the show. And they kind of just got together and they kind of agreed, like, we need to get this guy out of here. And I saw that go down. It wasn't necessarily an alliance, but I do think it was kind of like the early stages of people kind of ganging together, and kind of definitely like with the Cole situation, it set a standard for you can't necessarily just rely on your skills from a creative department and from writing and everything like that to do well. You also have to work well in a team. So having said that, Adventure Blue Dude, So You Want to Be an Imagineer, season 8, originally entitled Clash of the All-Stars. So I have some testimonials written from Man-Eating Reef that I'm going to go ahead and read, although it's
very long.
It's very long. It's very long. So
we could go over it at the end if you want.
I'll do it right now. Season 8 definitely had some of the best projects I've ever seen in a season of So You Want to Be an Imagineer. Near Disneyland, Disney Universal Studios with Monkey's Young Frankenstein Project, the Disney Store, Haunted Mansion Holiday in Florida, etc. Even the last project, a promotional resort-wide event for any resort, was well done. I beg to differ with that, but that's a different story. The contestants from Project 2 onward were absolutely fantastic and each contributed their equal share of creativity and heart to the season. And then, well, it happened. Me thinking to myself, to be quite clever, had utilized the most recent season of Big Brother as a basis for season 8 in terms of the game-changing powers and vetoes. Being a huge Legend of Zelda fan, I created the Stalfos power, a secret power named for the regenerating skeleton enemies in said game series. To obtain this power, a player would have to submit a secret project to myself and King Mickey in Project 5. We would determine who would obtain it. The power would entail the ability to overthrow the team leader's power and instantly eliminate anyone of the holder's choice, no questions asked. This would also guarantee the holder of the choice immunity for Project 5. Enter Jesse and Disney Sun. Disney Sun was the original WDW Magic All-Star. Right from the start, Disney Sun was a force to be reckoned with, and Tiki knew that. Yes, I did. Every contestant knew it. King Mickey and I knew it. We have to predicted that Disney Sun would ultimately go on to win here or make it to the end. Even winning over some of the other season's heavy hitters, Jesse Studio, who did end up winning first, also knew this. Jesse was also talented, and by at least Project 3, Jesse obtained the Stalfos power. By Project 5, Disney Sun was gone. Jesse rocked our role by eliminating the up-and-coming star. This is when things blew up, even more so than Project 1. Disney Sun was upset, King Mickey was upset, and to be honest, I was more in shock. I later learned of the secret behind-the-scene conversations and ideas that led to this twist, but I hadn't the slightest clue that Disney Sun would be the target. It was sad but interesting, and even though things felt like they were going south for a while, it all worked out in the end. This is the era King Mickey and I's part, but we created another secret power last minute to somehow bring Disney Sun back into the game. You know what, Adventure Blue Dude? I'm realizing we should probably just talk over this.
Yes.
Garrett, I admire the enthusiasm and everything. It just doesn't play well in the podcast. I'm sorry.
I mean, we can still mention the points that he mentions.
Sure.
Obviously,
But let's go back a little bit. Do you remember the clusterfuck when it came to the cast of the All Stars? The All Stars.
It was magical.
Tell us. Regale.
We had a ton of people, like a lot of really old people that came back.
At least 20.
Was it 20? Yeah, it was at least 20. And the first project was to make a mirror Disneyland, which was basically create your own park, which was a very interesting concept. The problem is that it was 20 people working together to do one thing.
Mirror Disneyland, it was specifically, you had to create a Disneyland that adhered to the hub and spoke wheel design, but it could not contain any of the original lands from a Disney park.
Yes.
That was the twist.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's all good. So yeah, there were a ton of people. It was a bit clusterfucky because there were so many people working on such a large project. People started dropping off, just time constraints. We started in October. I believe this was the last winter season, actually.
Probably.
Yeah, because we used to do 2 a year. And so that happened. People started dropping off. Then a bunch of stuff happened. Then more people dropped off. Would you like to go over that?
Yeah. So Mad About Mickey dropped off. Mater dropped off. Let's see who else. I believe Jay Phelps.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get to Jag because really, it was a situation where I was frustrated as someone who had built up this whole idea of All Stars in my head, and I said something that admittedly I probably shouldn't have said, but I think Jag did take out of context a bit, which was, oh, now we're just kind of half All-Stars at this point, or All-Stars leftovers. And yeah, that was kind of a dick thing to say. Having said that, I think Jag kind of took it way out of context. I think what I meant by All-Stars leftovers was, I mean, that was kind of the point. You know, it's like we lost Mad About Mickey. We lost all these big personalities, and they were the headlining. We lost Cole, you know, and these people were like the headlining people of the whole season. So what we were left with was we did kind of have to factor in, like, we did kind of have to restructure the season as All-Stars versus Wildcards, because frankly, after those initial people dropped out, I do stand by my statement that I don't think there was enough big name personalities to really call it a true All-Star cast. What do you think of that?
I mean, saying that it's not a true All-Star cast is very subjective. But aside from that, I do feel as though that Jag took it too far and took it possibly a little bit too personally.
He took it way too personally. I mean, yeah. I was being kind of a dick about the whole thing, but yeah, I think he took it out of context.
You were, but he kind of got a little too much on a high horse.
Right.
And I totally understand where he was coming from, and I didn't disagree. But yeah, in the end, he left and never came back.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yes.
I miss him. He was a really good presence. It would have been great to see what he... And I remember, like, even in the early time he was working in the project before that all went down, he was kicking ass. He was. It was a shame. He could have been a contender. Okay, so I guess... yeah, let's talk about Mirror Disneyland a little bit, just because it's such a fantastic project. We had the... Just really quickly to go over all the lands. We had the Venice meets San Francisco... Main Street, which I thought was really cool. I remember doing Da Vinci's Workshop, which was kind of like an A ticket, B ticket type thing, which I liked a lot. You did Nature's Wonderland.
Yes, I did. Well, Nature's Wonder Dome.
Wonder Dome, right.
Yeah, I did that in Columbia. Nature's Wonder Dome is really cool. It was basically what Frontierland was in the 50s, but under a dome. Like it had like a steampunkish vibe, but like it brought back Nature's Wonderland and renamed Nature's. I think it was Journey Through Nature's Wilderness or something awful like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of like
Firebird ride that I really liked.
There's a Firebird ride. There was a River Rapid, and there is another ride, and I forget who did it, but it was Mark Davis inspired. You sat in a chair and you did stuff.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Columbia was obviously kind of inspired by BioShock a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
But it was a cool idea. I like the idea of doing Mary Poppins up there.
Yeah, I know. I worked on the elevators. I worked on the flying machine ride, which was a really cool simulator concept that I liked, where instead of being enclosed, like the room was the screen. Then I did the Royal Zeppelin, which I also really liked. That was a really cool restaurant. And I think that was everything that was in that land.
The landmark of the park was the big clock tower, which I still think is fucking awesome. And the way Disney Sun wrote it out, it's still kind of, it's awe-inspiring in a way. I love the idea. They had like the clock tower and then the clock cleaner's e-ticket inside the clock tower. That was like the big icon of the park. I love that idea. I mean, I'm still in love with it to this day. It's one of the coolest things I think we've ever come up with. Okay, speaking of awesome projects, Toontown. Let's talk about Toontown here.
Toontown was really cool. The only one I remember is the Tower of Terror.
Of course, because the Tower of Terror is like, it's just my favorite thing ever.
Yes. I remember nothing else.
We had a trolley ride, a trolley simulator, I believe.
Yes, actually.
And then that was, I think, it for Toontown. I think we had a Roger Rabbit e-ticket, but whoever was going to do that kind of dropped the ball, and we didn't really have a lot of detail for that one. But Toontown Tower Hotel was, as soon as Garrett announced that one of the big things, and keep in mind, Garrett was hosting, this is probably something we should mention, that Man-Eating Wreath was hosting for the first time, and I was playing for the first time. How do you kind of feel about that whole thing, about me playing and everything, and Man-Eating Wreath hosting?
It was cool. It was cool. It made sense. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Man-Eating Wreath was hosting, and yeah, it got. I'm sorry, I kind of forgot my point with Man-Eating Wreath hosting, and I kind of need to get that exposition out of the way. But oh no, I'm sorry. I remember he told us that we were going to do a Toontown project where you could use any cartoon character. It didn't have to be Disney, so it could be like true to the Who Framed Roger Rabbit Toontown. And my mind instantly went to the image of Droopy as the Tower of Terror bellhop. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and turn off my webcam for a sec, and there you can still see it. It's still the icon Blue Dragon 5. It is. I'm terribly sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. I've grown desensitized, and I shouldn't. But you know
what I mean. It's like I feel like what you're looking at right now on screen is probably like my single favorite image of So You Want to Be an Imagineer. It's like the mascot.
Who did the concept art? Was that Disney Sun?
It was Disney Sun. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about round one?
There was one other land. There was barely anything in it. There was a Journey to the Center of the Earth ride.
I hardly remember it.
So do I. I tried to do it, then put it off on somebody else because I didn't have time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I think Near Disneyland is a huge highlight of the entire game. That is a legendary project, a giant project. But you can't stress enough how much of a clusterfuck the brainstorming was, though.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there were threads upon threads upon threads. Like, each land had its own thread at one point. It was... Oh, man.
We had... Each land had a thread, and then we had a thread where we put everything together.
Yes. Not the most efficient way to do things.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the teams got divided up into All-Stars versus Wildcards. You were on the All-Stars team. What do you think about kind of the point where it kind of dissolved into that?
I liked it. It brought in a few really good people.
We did. It brought in Stratospherious, most notably.
And it brought in Imagineer 2017. So, yeah. It brought in quite
Imagineer 2017.
So do I. I worked really closely with him in Season 9. But we'll get to that later. Yeah, no, it brought in a lot of really good people. It created interesting stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
Okay. So now I guess we can kind of skip over most of the team-based projects here, unless any of those early pre-merge projects kind of stood out to you.
I know there is the Animatronic Project where you pushed so very hard for one thing, and it didn't work.
Yes. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. We had to do an animatronic show. Or anywhere. I forget what we wanted to do. Tiki wanted to do something for the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
Yes,
We weren't having
yes.
any of it. But Tiki was like, no, guys, it'll be great. And then we lost.
I was so gung-ho about this idea. I loved this idea. Oh, man. Oh, man. It was just like at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, they don't even have it anymore. That makes me sad. But there used to be this dinky, like, robot pirate show that you used to be able to watch while you ate your like clam chowder and stuff at a restaurant. It was Captain Ned and Seaweed, the Wonder Parrot. In all honesty, it was kind of like I felt a lot like the dynamic of Patchy the Pirate and Polly and SpongeBob. So, anyways,
yeah.
Okay, so
man,
let's just talk about let's just get it out of the way. The Disney Sun elimination. I want to know what you were thinking in that moment, sir.
I honestly don't even remember. I remember voting for him when we had the vote later.
Okay.
To bring him back into the game. Then everyone voted Disney rules. We did nothing.
Well, we'll get to that. But
I also remember he got eliminated because I almost got eliminated.
Did you almost get eliminated in that round?
Yes, I didn't because Trevor did nothing. Like, he was really absent. So he didn't do anything. But we were doing that project, and the project was a landscaping thing where we had to landscape anything. And Disney Rules and I were working on the little train, like the train diorama in Germany and Epcot. And I was like, okay. Oh, no, we were going to do that. King Mickey said something about how, like, I forget what he said exactly, but it was like, shit, we need to change our idea. Let's do Topiary by Phantasmic and MGM. So we're doing that. And I'm like, okay, like, look, I'm going on like a ski trip this weekend, so I'm going to be pretty much gone. Here's a basic outline of what I want. Like, I'm sorry to do this, but please, if you could write this. And he's like, yeah, okay. And the project is due the next day, and he submitted the bullet list that I gave him and presented that as the project. So we got like a D, and everyone else got B's. But yeah, that's an offshoot story. But yeah, Disney Rules got eliminated, came back in when Disney Sun should have been brought back in. And then
just to touch on the Disney Rules,
yes.
The Disney Sun thing, like that was kind of the first time a major alliance was brought into the picture. And that was a big deal where me and Trevor A decided right off the top of the bat we wanted to work together. We're co-team leaders, if you remember, and co-team leaders could not obtain the staff loss power. So therefore, we had to get Jesse Studios on board. Now, you and Monkey, I remember, kind of had, you worked together in Fans versus Favorites. I was thinking way too hard about this. I know that. But I was kind of thinking, well, if it's kind of funny because now I just call you two Evan and Rob. It's like second nature to me. But like if Monkey and AdvBlueDude were to, it's kind of funny how those two specific people, yeah, that's funny. But if AdvBlueDude and Monkey were to have each other's back and I approach them with an alliance, they might tell the other one. So that was my logic of picking Jesse. That was really the only reason I picked Jesse. Was I thought out of everyone, he was probably the least tied down to anyone else on the tribe. So
you should have known that I didn't do alliances.
I know I should have.
Even now, I barely do alliances.
Okay. It was a silly notion.
It makes sense. But we were not working together. But yeah.
One of the big things with this season too is that I was kind of actively being a showboater around the wildcard people. Yes. I was actively just kind of rubbing it in their faces and just being like, all right, like, let's do it. Like, I was just really promoting the all-star thing. That was all very deliberate. I wanted to break their spirits. Such a dick move now. I wouldn't play like that now, but but having said that, I do think that Disney Sun's elimination effectively just wiped out most of the wild card's chances of winning because they just lost an essential person there. You know what I mean? Without them, it's just kind of, without Disney Sun, they kind of floundered, and we did get the tribe swap. I think we got one too many team swaps in the season. That was the thing. I remember, like, just like there was a blur of like 3 to 4 teams that we were constantly swapped into. So
Yeah. But yeah, there was the one project with the landscaping where it was like 6 teams of 2 or something like that. But things like that happen a lot. Yeah, and then later on, like a project or so later, there was the vote to bring somebody back in. And it absolutely should have been Disney Sun. I voted for Disney Sun, and it was then Disney
But I
Rules
had my
brought back
alliance
in.
go, and all 3 of my alliance voted for Disney Rules, and that's what happened. That's the power of numbers, baby.
And then we moved on to the next project, and Disney Rules said, "Hello, I'm sorry, I cannot participate." And then,
that must have just like I feel bad for King Mickey in that moment because I know that he pissed King Mickey off so much.
yep.
That was probably like King Mickey's lowest moment in the whole competition.
I mean, that project was the lowest moment in the competition because that was the theater project.
Oh God! Oh
Yeah.
Oh dear!
Oh, that was a fun project.
Theater. Personal Spaces, folks. I wrote it in high school. It was a little one act I wrote in high school. Not unlike the fucking main character from Rushmore. It's a little one act. Put it
Obviously,
into Disney
it was
parks.
plagiarized.
I put it into Disney parks. I used it as the basis for our project. I changed things about it. I want to emphasize that what we had in Personal Spaces, what we had in that project, was not exactly what Personal Spaces was the original. Having said that, yeah, Disney Sun came out, said I plagiarized it. I was taking creative writing damn seriously at that point, and I came on the offensive hardcore. Huge fight erupted. Not a pretty moment.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like it's funny because it's like you would get these kind of like dramatic reality TV show style moments out of the season where people were just like yelling at each other and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Look, folks, I guess like it's funny because now I'm 25 years old now, so I don't consider myself like I'm not like, oh, I am so old and wise now. No, I know I still have a lot to learn, but having said that, I was like what, like maybe 18 when this was going on. So yeah.
This was 2010.
Yeah, it's 2010 and I'm 26 now, so
Yeah, you would have been 20.
Oh, well, regardless.
Yeah.
I was still a lot younger. But, I mean, it's funny because Mandy and Reese still considers this his favorite season. I think a lot of people look back on the season fondly. I think in the moment, there were a lot of uncomfortable feelings around it. I have a feeling it's going to go down a lot like season 2 of The Soul Imagineer went down, where I really do think season 2 of Soul Imagineer is a damn good season of Armchair Imagineering. I really do. I think that season has so many cool moments in it. But in the moment, like as it was going down, there were a lot of hurt feelings. There were a lot of bruised egos. There were a lot of just people just kind of, coming to grips with the gameplay that was happening. And I think that it was the same thing here, where looking back on it, it's like, and I'm not even going to go into my whole gameplay style in Soul Imagineer 2. I don't think it was as bad as people make it out to be. But I digress. But going in, like playing essentially like Russell Hantz in Survivor, just kind of trying to burn the camp down to the ground, trying to instill the fear into the Wildcards and everything like that. I wouldn't do anything like that again. It's funny because looking back on it, my 20-year-old self, I'm kind of like, yeah, 20-year-old self, that was fun, wasn't it? But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh God, this would bring WDW Magic to its knees if I tried to pull this shit off now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Adventure Blue Dude. Anything else you want to highlight here?
There was the Universal Project, the Universal Disney Project.
That was a lot of fun. I remember I did 2 things for it. I did the Inception ticket, which was cool. I remember the Inception e-ticket, you went into Sato's mind, which is really fun to play around with. It was like a whole different setting within Inception. And then I also did the studio tour, which ended in a big outdoor Pirates of the Caribbean section. So both those were fun.
Basically, the premise of the project was Disney and Universal team up to make a park. And it was cool because there were like 5 of us left, and each of us, we were all working separately, but we were each given a land to work on, and with those, like, we would put those lands together into one park.
Exactly.
I worked on Adventure, so which I really liked. I did an Indiana Jones ride, which was half walk through, half actual ride. Then I did a King Kong ride where you go to Kong Island, or like the island that he's on. I said Kong Island, that's Donkey Kong, oops. But and then I did a Jurassic Park ride, which was similar to what I did in season 7, but it was a simulator, so it was totally different. But
the Donkey Kong Island is Congo Bongo Island.
Is it?
I'm pretty damn sure.
I don't believe you for some reason.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, it was a cool project. Don't remember what anyone else did, but it was a really cool project to do.
We have to highlight Monkey here, though.
Who?
Monkey.
Yes.
Because he did Young Frankenstein. You want to talk about that?
I don't remember it that much, and I feel as though that might have been from a different that was from a different project.
Well, Man-Eating Wreath seems to claim that it's from this. So
we did we did a project where it was we had to do a land for Universal, and we did a horror-themed land. Young Frankenstein was a part of that. You did Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my God! Oh, you're right.
I did Dracula. Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim, man, that is one of my favorite things I've ever done. That was, I love that. It was basically just a 3D like simulator type ride, except I had a lot of in-theater animatronics and effects and everything like that. That was, yeah, Scott Pilgrim I have a lot of nostalgia for. Okay. But no, Monkey absolutely, like, he totally came into his own this season. He made it all the way to second place. I was personally rooting for him to win. It's just one of those things where it's like, he really just, in season 7, he was just kind of part of the team. You know, he contributed. He did his thing. In season 8, he really came out where it's like, okay, I'm the offbeat comedy guy. I'm going to do these weird kind of comedy projects that no one's even thinking of. Stuff like Spaceballs, stuff like this. And he really just kind of set the tone for what his style was going to be. And I think Monkey is one of the more unique players that we've ever had on So You Want to Be an Imagineer for that reason. He's not really ever very flashy with his concept art or anything like that, but what he lacks in that, he makes up for in the cool way that he...
Good night.
Good night, it's garbage night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's garbage night, Blue Truck 5.
Can't fucking wait.
Okay, but he makes up for it in just the text. You know what I mean? The formatting of the text.
Yeah.
So yeah, Monkey style is just again, Monkey will always hold a special place in my heart as the first person from So You Want to Be an Imagineer that I met in person. But just overall, just a really, really strong presence in season 8. So okay. I guess, I'm kind of drawing we did the Disney Store project, and the Disney Store project kind of got us back on track.
Yes, yeah.
Do you want to talk about you being eliminated? Because it was honestly kind of a blindside on my part. I honestly thought, I thought for sure that you were going to be in the finals with me.
Mine, I remember hating my project. I did Journey into Imagination for some reason, and then realized how impossible it is to write Journey into Imagination. And it was awful. But that is the only time I was ever okay with being eliminated in the semifinals.
Which kind of became a thing for you.
Yes, it did. Fucking hate it.
Oh God. Okay. Let's talk about the final project. It was to design a marketing campaign. I honestly still to this day kind of hate this as a final project. I don't think
like
it's
it either. I don't like projects like that.
Because it's not really Imagineering.
Exactly.
It's not Imagineering's field. They have nothing to do with marketing.
I just don't like the projects where they're like, okay, we're gonna go to the other side of the business. Why don't you write a manifesto? We're trying to redo WDI. We want to let's write a strategy for the next 3 years.
Right.
I don't like the projects like that because they're just boring. Honestly.
Okay, but this was around the same time that I started a serious relationship, probably the only really serious relationship I've been in. And so my time was gone. I had no time to devote to this. And frankly, I used my, first of all, I want to ask, what do you think of my whole mastermind speech? When I know you had some strong reactions to it. I had the Snidely Whiplash avatar at this time. And I remember you said, like, oh, well, you definitely earned that Snidely Whiplash avatar.
I still think it was overdone.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where, like, literally from the second that the game started, I was already writing that in my head. And every single interaction I had with people, I had in mind of like, okay, how can I frame this in a strategic kind of way? It was kind of batshit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but that happened. You got eliminated third. Mikey got second. Jesse Studios got first. And then Jesse promptly dropped off the face of the earth.
I miss Jesse, and I really hope that I hope that none of my actions caused him to leave.
No.
Also, I looked it up on Google. Congo Bongo Island is definitely the Donkey Kong Country Island.
Okay.
Yeah, just fact checking you there.
But what about Donkey Kong 64?
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't think about that, did you?
So let's get to so season 8 it ended very satisfying, and with Jesse Studio winning. Season 9, I had from the get-go, I had the whole idea of Outcast Island. This was when Survivor was doing Redemption Island, which oddly enough is probably one of the most hated twists in Survivor, but what are you gonna do? Let's see. AdvBlueDude, I feel like we're not doing a good job of kind of explaining the twist. So do you want to quickly go over some of the twists we had around this time, which was mainly like, we had the Diamond PO MVP, which was where you could, the PO MVP regularly was for the project leader to award to someone who was doing the best job on a team. Diamond PO MVP was where you could replace one or both of the nominations for elimination. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm sorry, I'm doing a bad job.
I didn't use any of these because I was on Outcast Island the entire time.
Let's talk about that. Let's
get right irrelevant to me.
Well, let's talk about Walt's Fault though.
Okay.
Like Walt's Fault, that was in play for season 8. Am I right?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, honestly. I think maybe holy shit, did Walt's Fault start with this?
It might have.
If so, that's a brutal first event for Walt's Fault.
Yeah. We did the first project, which was Animaniacs.
Okay, so just regale us with your Walt's Fault story.
Okay, we finished it. We got the teams. I was a team leader. I was told to open it if I wanted to, and I did, and I was immediately sent to Outcast Island. And there I would remain until the end.
Yes. This is a very wonky season. This is like season 5, except if season 5 somehow like coherently came together into a season. Oh man, there's a lot of shit that goes down here. Oh god. So a couple things that we have to get off right off the bat. I announced that there would be a Lost project as the semifinals. I announced that for the final project, you'd have to lay out your gameplay in terms of creativity, in terms of social game, and in terms of strategy. In retrospect, I will never, ever, ever, ever do that again.
Yeah, please don't.
I won't, ever. That's what Soul Imagineer is for.
Yeah.
But that was a horrible idea on my part, and it led to PM Gate. So just take it away, AdvBlueDude. What do you remember about that fateful day?
So I was kind of in the middle of this.
Oh dear.
I was sent to Outcast Island. I was there alone with somebody else who didn't get picked for a team.
I couldn't remember him for the life of me.
Neither can I. He did nothing. And Imagineer 2017 contacted me. He's like, hey, I want to try a thing. What we could possibly do is you and I can spearhead a thing where we can help further the new guys by, like, if they go to Outcast Island, you kind of take them under your wing, and then bring them back up into the main game. Hopefully, you can get more new people towards the end. And I'm like, great idea, let's do it. It'll be fun. Like a day or two later, he's like, hey, I got another guy at our site at Star Wars Geek, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. He's like, no, it'll be great. It'll be great, trust me. And we talked to him a little bit, and he was like, yeah, it'll be great, trust me. Oh. And I'm like, and then he started sending PMs to everyone. And me and Imagineer were in the sidelines going, what the fuck is happening? So, everything blew up. Imagineer was the first to contact you, I believe.
No, I believe the first to contact me was...
Mew?
Yeah, he was playing this season, right? Yeah, he was playing, yeah.
I know that Imagineer did contact you.
He did. I also want to put this into perspective. I had just moved in with my girlfriend at the time, and I had just moved into a new house. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We were stealing Wi-Fi from the neighbors. And when this was coming up, like, as a host and as someone who's ran So You Want to Be an Imagineer for 9 seasons and has an incredibly vested interest in keeping the game afloat and not letting these things kind of just, like, when I was seeing this, I saw it as like, holy shit, this is bad. Like, if this isn't taken care of and nipped in the bud, this could potentially derail the entire season.
And even still, it almost did.
It almost did. It almost did. But I had to. Like, I had no other choice, man. I had to take the bus down to Petaluma and just deal with it, you know? And it wasn't my job. I was looking for a job at the time, but it was just like, I just remember that stressed my girlfriend out so much, and you know, me and her kind of had some problems down the line with that, but don't want to get too personal with that. But, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like I cared so deeply about it, and the other people in my life just thought it was just some dumb little hobby, and if it goes up, it goes up, whatever. And that was super stressful. That was super stressful. Okay.
Basically, what happened, we touched on it briefly. Star Wars Geek, who I believe it was his first season playing. But anyway, Star Wars Geek came in and decided to try to pit everyone against each other to not only further himself but also the new guys, which is admirable, but also not at all. So that blew up. Everyone turned on Star Wars Geek, and then he left, and then he came back in, and then he did nothing.
Oh God!
I worked on one project with him on Outcast Island, where he was just entirely argumentative, and just we got nothing done because there was like that 3 to 4. There was that 3 project like stretch where I just didn't hand projects in because I couldn't.
Yes, I remember that. And I totally like didn't blame you in that situation. But there was Project Portal this season. Do you remember Project Portal?
Yeah, that was a really fun project. Thrill and I did a lot for that.
Yes.
Where,
by the way, we haven't touched on Thrill. Like, you and him worked really closely for a number of years. So do you want to just kind of give like a little homage to Thrill right here?
I miss Thrill. I haven't talked to him in like a year. We were really good friends.
That's really sad.
Like, he's in college. I've been in college. I need to talk to him at some point. But we have been friends since like 2009, and we have a blog, The Thrilling Adventures at blogspot.com. If any of you would like to dive into the annals of my internet life, but we worked really closely. He came in starting season 9, and yeah, he did a lot. He did a ton. He made it to semifinals. Project Portal, both of us worked together. More so him, worked together to do a walkthrough Portal like puzzle experience. That was really cool. Yeah, that's Thrill. I miss him.
God, I'm kind of drawing a blank on some of these projects here. Do you remember any of them kind of before you came back from Exile Island?
Yeah, there was a book project. That was the second project where
Oh, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, I tried writing a book about Epcot.
Uh-huh.
I was on the team with 2 other people. I was like, okay, guys, let's write a book, and they said nothing. And I didn't add anything. Project 3. I got in a fight with Star Wars Geek
Oh no.
because we just weren't on the same page, and I didn't hand it a project. There's a pattern here. Then Project 4, we had to make a restaurant that could look out into a ride.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, right.
Thrill and I worked on a Nemo restaurant for Disney Sea, and by Nemo I mean Captain Nemo, not Finding.
Mhm.
Which was really cool and really fun, and it went really well. And that project I handed in. Then Project Portal happens. Project 6, no idea. Actually, no, that might have been around that. Project 6 might have been. So there was a time in the middle of the season
Mhm.
where we could bring someone back from Outcast Island.
Right.
I remember
right.
Mew contacted me and he's like, "Hey, you've been on Outcast Island since the beginning. How about we bring you back to the main game?" And I said, "Absolutely do not do that. I'm going on vacation tomorrow." So they brought me back into the main game.
Oh god.
And,
Oh god.
and then I came back and was promptly voted back into Outcast Island. And I was like, "Okay, you just wasted the thing."
You know what the great thing about this is, Adventure Blue Dude, is Survivor Redemption Island. There is a guy that went to Outcast Island like very early on. I think he was like the second person eliminated, and then he kind of like ran the table at Redemption Island through all the challenges and everything, and he came back and then promptly voted out, promptly backstabbed by Boston Rob, sent right back to Redemption Island at the merge. And so I feel like you kind of mirrored him in a lot of ways. Oh, God.
But then when I came back, I was actually really pissed because I believe it was double elimination. I already knew I was going back to Outcast Island because that makes sense. And it was a project where we had to do like a funplex type thing, like a fun complex type thing. And Thrill was doing literally all the work. Where like I came back from vacation, I was talking to him, he's like, "Help me, I'm alone on this." So I helped him finish it, and then he got voted into Outcast Island, which pissed me the fuck off because he was the one least deserving of having that happen.
Right.
Then Project 7 was the Chuck E. Cheese project.
Oh god.
Which we did nothing for because nobody liked it.
Oh man. Oh,
and then,
I did not picture that going south as much as it did. It's funny. I got the idea for that project from a Jim Hill Media article I read back in the day where Disney was planning on doing like a Chuck E. Cheese style like family fun center type thing. I thought, I wonder what Disney would do with that. That sounds interesting.
Well, I think it was more just placement because we did like a fun complex type thing and then went to Chuck E. Cheese.
I guess so. So. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then we did Holy Project 8 Batman, which was really fun. I actually really like that project.
Batman is one of the best projects we've ever done, I think.
Yeah.
I think that saved the season in the same way that the Disney Store season, the Disney Store project saved season 8 after the theater project.
Yeah. That one me and Imagineer 2017 worked really, really closely on. And it came out rather well.
Imagineer 2017 I want to touch on just because me and him, like, throughout the game of season 8, me and him kind of had a rivalry going on where he was really the only one that was standing up to me, and he was the only one kind of calling me out on the things I was doing. And I respected him a lot for that. We weren't on the same page alliance-wise, but I respected the crap out of him for that. And so, yeah, it was really fun to see Imagineer 2017 kind of become a power player in its own right when it came to season 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like, me and, like, he was my alliance for the game. Where, like, we had each other's backs during the game, and I'll talk about it more towards when we get to the end. Then we had the Tourist Trap project, which we also did nothing for because nobody liked it. And that is where the Prague Theater was born and died, sadly. And someday I'll finish it eventually. I still miss that. I really want to do that.
Oh, dear.
I still want to do. I've genuinely thought about writing a script for it.
You should.
It's like a film. But I digress. Yeah, we got towards like semifinal stuff. What me and Imagineer want to do a thing where we were trying to get me, him, and Thrill to the end. So it would like guarantee one of us, and that didn't happen because oh my god, what the hell? Future Imagineer went on vacation. Who I miss him as well. He was a great guy.
Mm.
He was going through a lot of stuff, and I remember towards the end talking, like, having, like, really good conversations about comics with him.
Yeah. I hope he's okay. I genuinely hope he's
So do
okay.
I'm sure he's fine, but yeah. But he went on vacation, so that didn't end up happening. And it ended up being me hacking Disney Sun because I somehow pulled a Lost project out of my ass. Even though I have never and still have yet to see an episode of Lost.
I think you'd enjoy it if you sat down with it. I really do. But oh god,
I'm more tickled that the project went that well.
I honestly thought you had by far the best project out of the three of them, and it was kind of like with Disney Son. He spent time like, watching the whole series as season 9 was taking place. He probably had what I consider to be the weakest of the projects that made it into the final round.
Well, that's because he tried recreating scenes from the show.
Oh god,
which isn't what you should do in a broad. Like I truly believe that if like you're gonna make a, excuse me to step on a soapbox briefly, if you're gonna make a project based off of a really iconic IP with a really iconic world, focus on the world and not the IP.
Definitely.
Like if that makes sense. Which like yeah. Which is why my
which you did. You focused on the island. You didn't focus on the characters
exactly
inhabiting the island.
I had one character because you told me it had to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. One other thing to bring up with season 9, though. Do you remember those radio dramas that
yes.
Stratospherius was doing?
Yeah.
Those were really cool, man. I was getting really into those.
No, those were really cool.
Yeah, like we had a whole storyline going on with Outcast Island, and like we were kind of like self-referential. I don't remember exact details about it or anything. I know that for the final episode, I wanted to bring people like Mr. One Way and stuff like that into it. I wanted to do characters. But we did have Stratospherius recruited a female voice actress to voice a character in that thing, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty legit. So
there's a forum of that for freelance voice actors.
Right, yeah, and I think that's where he got it from.
Yeah, no, that is where he got her.
Yeah. But okay, so now I guess and do you want to talk about just kind of like winning?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I won.
I know spoiler alerts, right?
Disney Sun freaked out.
Yes.
Not that I won, but because of the strategy stuff, which I totally agree with. He got super paranoid. Thought that things that weren't actually happening were going on, and it got really weird for a while. But I ended up winning, and yeah, it was cool.
But I think in the grand scheme of this season, I just think it's a cool arc for you to go through to literally be on an island like almost all of the time and still end up winning.
I also enjoy that the one time. Oh, I lost you for a second. I enjoy that the one time I made it past semifinals is the time that I won.
yeah, exactly. You have a bit of a track record there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into season 10. Season 10 was the anniversary edition. This is still my favorite season of the game. I think the season went over so well.
Yeah.
This was what All-Stars really should have been. We had Basket Buddy come back, which was really exciting. We got some of Basket Buddy's concept art, which was a big game changer for the game. It kind of set a tone for the rest of the game. It really kind of set a style. We had Comics 101 was kind of a big person who broke out of this season. We had Snoopy, who ended up going on to win. Snoopy, as I'm sure you probably remember, was a good friend of mine. Like I was as close with Snoopy, if not closer, than I was with like Rob and Garrett and you right now.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, I never like met him in person or stayed at his house or anything like that. But, you know, like me and him were thick as thieves when it came to running this movie forum that we put so much time and effort into when we were like tiny little like middle schoolers in high school, and it was adorable. And we really thought we'd get it off the ground, even though nobody knew about it and we had no advertising for it. It was adorable. But I digress. I knew Snoopy from that. I really knew Snoopy one day. Me and him have a long history of roller coaster tycoon forums and kind of seeing those kind of come and go. But I digress. So, Adventure Blue Dude, what do you remember about season 10?
What was the first project?
First project, I don't necessarily remember.
Is that the Q project? No, it wasn't.
Yes.
That was season 12. No, that was season 12. No.
I'm pretty sure the Q project was this project. I'm pretty sure.
It might have been.
I am almost positive because
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm positive it was.
Well, okay. Yeah, the first project was the Q project. I did a Bioshock.
I remember Monkey did something really cool for that. He did like a whole original thing where he introduced like a whole world. It was something for Tomorrowland, if I remember correctly, and he introduced like new characters and everything like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was season 10 because Disneyland came in with his Winnie the Pooh project that he was shopping around everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did a Bioshock ride. Second project was a rock and roller coaster one. We did the Beach Boys. I got in a fight with Hack about that.
I'm just gonna quickly go through some of this concept art. We had concept art for Basket Buddy. This was his cue for SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom Blast. I'm sorry, let me get out of this, but keep going.
Cool. What were the other ones? Project 3.
Here,
yeah.
Beatles Roller Coaster Revolution.
Yep. I forget what team that was. That was a Basket Buddies team, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Beach Boys one down there. There she is. That was Comics 101. And it was amazing.
I still love the idea for this. I thought
so
this is one of the better rock and roller coaster projects I've read.
I really like that one. Project 3 was the Hunger Games?
Yes.
And I didn't do much with it because I had no interest in it, and I'm petty like that.
Because I remember there was a lot of interest for it back in the day, but I think Hunger Games is one of those things where it just kind of came and went, and the interest for it kind of died off. And if you tried to do Hunger Games now, it'd be like literally no one would be excited for it.
They are.
What do you mean?
There's a park in Dubai that's getting a Hunger Games ride.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, like, for an armchair Imagineering competition now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the world lends itself to a theme park attraction.
I don't think so either. And, this is, the best concept art we could come up with right here. So it's not great. It's not great. I'm sorry, some of this concept art's out of order, so I kind of have to jump around a little bit.
Don't worry about it. Project 4 was a... what the hell was it? I had it a second ago. It was I don't even remember, but we did it was SeaWorld actually, and I didn't do anything for it because I was busy.
And I believe this is where we have one of.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the SeaWorld project that they did.
Oh, it was up further towards the topish. I saw it near the Hunger Games. Yeah, it's by that seagull. That might be a lie.
This is it, if anything else.
Yes.
Yeah, so Deep Sea Explorers, just really good stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I'm sorry, I can't really, there's not a whole ton of a lot to say about Season 10. It's just really, really good, good projects all around, I thought.
Okay. Yeah, I know I got eliminated towards the middle. That's the ride!
This?
Donald and the Hurricane is the ride that beat me on VMK Magic, and then somebody submitted that. So you want to be an Imagineer, and I'm like, this is the same project. I read this 4 years ago, but no, it's irrelevant now. Yeah, so I got eliminated in the World of Color project, even though I came back in for that project. Then you brought me back in the next project, I forget why, and we had to do... That's when the Pink Floyd project started.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Ride of the Moon will someday be finished.
Someday.
I still want it to be finished. Really, I really like that idea.
We didn't get into let's see, what else? Daft Punk Space Mountain.
That was a different season.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I remember reviewing it.
Aww.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Daft Punk Space Mountain so badly.
So yeah,
okay.
Yeah, then we did Dark Ride the Moon. I don't remember what happened after that. The semifinals project was to make a Pirates of the Caribbean / Haunted Mansion style dark ride. And I
want to highlight this because this is one of my favorite events in the history of So You Want to Be an Imagineer was bringing in Cole and King Mickey to do the judging on this. This was a score. Both of them were kind of elusive when it came to the community, and we got both of them on. And both of them, essentially what it was a Final Four. I believe the Final Four was you, Snoopy,
Thrill,
and then Basket Buddy.
Yes.
And King Mickey picked the obvious one, which was Basket Buddy. He did an e-ticket that was themed around ancient Greece that I thought was really, really good. It was kind of like the obvious front runner. And then you didn't agree?
It didn't fit with what the project was asking for.
I thought it did. Personally, I thought it did. I mean, mark it down to subjectivity, but I thought it did.
It's entirely subjective. I just didn't think
I mean, personally for me, it's just one of the things where it's like ancient Greece is like you can do as much with ancient Greece as you can do with a broad thing like pirates or like with ghosts. So I thought there was a lot of things you could do with that kind of concept.
I just thought it was too story driven. And too not within the spirit of what the project was asking. But I mean, subjectivity, yeah. I'm biased.
Let's talk about the real shocker here, because I remember like my shock. I was rooting for Snoopy, I really was, but I thought for sure that it'd be you versus Basket Buddy in the finals. So do you want to talk about this as it happened?
This is the one time
I'm sorry, Cole gets the final say here. Cole is the one who decides to get Snoopy over you in the finals, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is the one time I was actually angry that I lost because Snoopy's project was maybe 15 sentences.
Right.
And like I had like the whole thing mapped out. I had two fully like mostly different ride-throughs. And he had 15 sentences where they were like just basic ideas. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like, it's interesting. Again, I do feel like it just kind of speaks to what Cole was looking for. I think Cole more specifically was looking for something that was simple, something that you could, I think Cole kind of admired the whole, that it stuck really closely to school kind of Mark Davis sensibilities with Snoopy's project. And B, I think he kind of maybe appreciated the fact that it wasn't terribly long, that it was kind of like an open kind of slate for his pitch. I don't know. I mean, I can't get inside Cole's head.
He said that he was like looking for, like when he was asked who to vote for, he picked the one that popped out to him the most, which is totally fine. I just don't agree with it because of how not detailed it was.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm biased, like, obviously.
But then Snoopy actually goes on to win this season. Yes. This is also where Mandy Newreith gets Miyazaki'd, so we should probably talk about that, right?
Yeah, that did happen.
Right.
No! Oh yeah, it was because me and Thrill did My Neighbor Totoro ride.
Yeah. Totoro ride. Okay, so Mandy Newreith. I actually do have a. Oh God, I do have a testimonial from Garrett here. Let me see if I can pull it up. But I was really excited about this project. I was like really deep into studying Miyamoto at the time. Or I'm sorry, not Miyamoto. That's season 11. Season 11 is Miyamoto. But no, I was really into studying Miyazaki at the time. I was looking up stuff like like obscure movies like Porco and stuff like that. I was really getting into sensibilities, so I was super duper into it. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Does Garrett have anything about... I thought he did.
He does. He definitely does.
I see it. Getting Miyazaki sucked. Basically, the project was to create an original theme park attraction created by Miyazaki or something like that. Okay, I just want to correct him right there. The idea was to create a theme park themed around Miyazaki. Miyazaki himself didn't have to have anything to do with it. I went a little too overboard and created a super e-ticket that was ultimately too unrealistic. Being a former ride operator at Disneyland, the things I planned for this attraction were clearly impossible, and I know that now. Like, seriously, the ride vehicles and animatronics flew. I don't know how I thought in the slightest bit it was feasible. As I now know, animatronics don't fly. They stand in place and leak hydraulic fluid from their throats, but that's another story for another day. Oh, I love it. I love it. So, yeah, this was kind of in the point where Manning Reef did design that e-ticket. The e-ticket was clearly the weakest part of the Miyazaki project, so he was eliminated there. And, you know, he was kind of the one that came up with being Lord of the Rings, and then, you know, like full circle comes around. He's the one that gets Miyazaki'd. Yeah. So let's talk about Snoopy as a winner here, because I think that's the only other thing to go over before we kind of sign off for the night. Snoopy as a winner, I believe, is one of the best winners we've ever had. And I believe that just simply on the merit that you never know which type of player is ultimately going to win, and any type of player could potentially win. And I think Snoopy makes that very clear. I think Snoopy he was never the big dog. He was never the front runner. He was never the power player. Having said that, he was always one of the more consistent people on his team. And he was always one of the people that his specialty really was kind of making these smaller parts of the projects into one of the best parts of the project. He did that very well with Miyazaki when he designed a flat ride there that ended up being a highlight of the Miyazaki project. So,
we forgot a project, but we'll come back to it.
Okay. But
sorry.
But ultimately though, I for me personally, and I had no say in Snoopy winning. You know, it was the jury that voted him to win, and then it was Cole who voted him into the final. So really, it was not in my hands at all. But me personally, of course I was rooting for him because he's my good friend. I wanted him to play in the game for a number of years. He was finally doing it, and it was just an epic culmination in Adventure Blued. It was an epic culmination of my online time, from going from the whole, like, oh, we've got like 5 members on this movie forum, that's totally going to take off, to, to running something that was pretty legitimate and that was had a lot of success, and Snoopy being on top of that. I was just so happy for him, and I was so happy for the game, and it's really a high point of the series, I think. It's the moment where I'd realized that the strategy that went down in Season 8 and Season 9 really wasn't what the game was about. We're still going to have strategy. We're still going to have team dynamics. We're still going to have stuff like the PO MVP and Walt's Vault. But at the end of the day, Season 10 focused on creativity. Season 10 focused on giving the players as good of a chance as they possibly could to develop the best projects they could. And for that reason, I still think it's the best season we've ever done. So,
yeah.
All right. That's my piece with it.
Cool. Yeah, we missed a project.
What did we miss?
The second Batman project.
That was a good one. That was my
fucking baby. You don't even understand. Where we had to do a Nolanverse project to replace.
We had to replace Marvel Universe at Islands of Adventure.
Yep. And the e-ticket had to star a Batman villain not present in the movies.
That you would cast in the style of Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
Movies.
So, oh my god, I want to redo this project, and it's on my docket for that thread that I made 2 months ago.
I just want to find it.
I have it.
Oh, you have it? Good, yeah. Good, because I want Blue Dragon 5 to read it.
It's only my part, but I have it. Because,
okay.
But I can tell you everything else that was in it. The e-ticket was called Through the Looking Glass, and it was,
yes.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
I hope it's a lot better than the Through the Looking Glass movie that just came out.
I assure you it was. So it was based, the main villain was, the Mad Hatter, played by Timothy Spall. And
Yes!
it was really cool, and I really, really, really loved it. I still think it's one of the best things I've ever written. And I don't think there are many things I've written well. But it came out really, really cool, and it was really fun to do, and it had all the characters. Like, each villain from the past movies was in it. Were in it. So that was cool to write, it was cool to do, it was fun. Then, other than that, Snoopy kind of came into his own with flat rides.
Mhm.
So we had an Alien Encounter style ride
With
that was
Killer
based around
Croc.
with Killer Croc,
Oh, that was so
which
cool.
was really cool. Yes, it was.
Oh God,
Super cool.
That you hit on it right there. That is exactly why Snoopy won the game, because he took something as simple as a flat ride and turned it into an experience, a goddamn experience.
Yeah. And then we had the one that I didn't really like was we had a Scarecrow Coaster. There was, I mean, it wasn't bad. It just, there wasn't a lot to it.
So the idea is like Scarecrow is going to spray you with fear toxin, and your biggest fear is going on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's basically like a roller coaster through your nightmares. But yeah, it was cool. But my baby was.
I think if I were to retheme the Incredible Hulk now, I'd probably retheme it to maybe Bane.
Does it to any Batman villain?
Yeah.
That's difficult. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
On that one.
And I just wrote the Joker, and the Joker is absolutely fucking amazing, but
Yeah.
anyways. So
But yeah, God, Dad, Through the Looking Glass is my child. I nurtured it. I sent it through college, and oh my God. Yeah,
no, I remember it was a major highlight of the. I think both those Batman projects were so well placed, and it was kind of funny because that Batman project was after Dark Knight Rises came out, and I was a little underwhelmed by Dark Knight Rises. Now I pretty much hate Dark Knight Rises. At the time, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. So. Yeah. I think your Through the Looking Glass would have made a much better third Nolan movie than Dark Knight Rises did. All right. So we have to kind of wrap up here. Do you have any final thoughts for season 10?
It wasn't quite my favorite, but it probably had the best projects of the ones that I participated in. Project concepts, rather. So yeah. No, I really like
Basket Buddy. Not enough can be said about Basket Buddy and his concept art and just how that kind of changed everything. Because seriously, it gave the projects a look and a feel and a tangibility to them that had never been there before.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it, folks. We'll do one last part of the historical retrospective in which we'll cover seasons 11 and 12, which me and AdvBlueDude both kind of agree are both kind of subpar seasons in the grand scheme of things.
I like season 11.
Season 11, yeah, season 11's fine. Season 12, I think, is like a bust.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, a bust. Like, I don't even remember any good projects in that season at all, but we'll get there.
There's one that I remember.
Okay, fair enough. I'm glad.
Yeah.
We'll also give you a little taste of what's to come for season 13. That's coming sooner than y'all think, folks. That's coming right around the corner, but we'll get to that soon. All right. In the meantime, folks, thank you for joining us for this historical retrospective. And my God, I can't wait to talk about Daft Punk Space Mountain in season 11. Okay, see you guys later.